This is the third time I try to make this video and it's so disjointed because there's just so many ideas. But one, I've been listening to people complain about the Supreme Court, that they came out with this ruling on the Colorado case, saying that states cannot take it upon themselves to use federal power, because they're states. The state can't do the job of the feds. That's not their place. It's a separation of powers, right? But at the same time, and listening to the arguments, one of the justices clearly asks the Trump attorney if a state can choose to not have somebody on the ballot to be fiscally conservative, to watch out for their budgets, right? They don't want to spend the money on somebody that is already on trial that might not even make it to the end because he's going to end up in jail, right? It's on my eyebrow. So paranoid. Anyway, so one of the justices clearly asks the Trump attorney, so in this case, could a state decide not to have somebody on the ballot, right? Because they're not going to make it. And it's not to say that a legitimate candidate, like, oh, we don't like that guy, we're not going to put him on there. No, because any legitimate candidate has to be on the ballot, right? That they can't say it's for their budget. But in the case of T-Rump over here, who's got like 91 charges, I think it is, he's going to go to jail, right? And you can't be president from jail. In his case, where although you're not 100% for certain, but that's why they're like, dude, we don't want to waste our money on that, because if he doesn't make it, then imagine how much we've wasted on putting him on the ballot and running the whole thing. It's expensive to run an election. But think about it, if the state's like, we don't want to waste that money, the justices clearly were saying, you can do that. You as a state have that right. The feds can't come and tell you how to manage your budget, right? A state can go to the feds and be like, hey, can we get some money? But the feds can't come to the state and say, this is how you're going to run your money. They can't do that, right? A state is its own entity. It's like a large version of an individual, like the individual in the Constitution, but it's a state. It's like a collection of individuals. But anyway, don't let me get sidetracked because that's what kept happening on the other ones. But anyway, so the justices are saying this is what you can do. This is legally what can happen. And in not so many words, they're saying, yeah, dude, he's an insurrectionist. But everybody's like hung up on that they want to have the states have the power of the Fed. And you can't do that. States can't take on the power of the Fed. And just as the feds can't take on the power of the state, right? That's the separation of powers that keeps the balance. But yeah, people are hung up on the justices not letting states do the Fed work. Yeah. Oh well. And they told them to. It's like, but we can't tell the states to do that. Right? They're originalists. They're like, no, states have all the rights. But nobody listens. What is it? Listen, Linda, listen.